Welcome to RawSportsCast. My name is Scott Harrigan. Here's another edition we got going for you. We have Brandon Wong from BW Hockey on today. Brandon, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So let's just jump right into it. No foreplay, no nothing. We're just going to go right at it, okay? So does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Perfect. Tell me a little bit about yourself, how you got started, where you played. Like, where did you play your, have you been playing hockey your whole life, I assume?
Yeah. I started skating about 3 years old with my dad and family, and grew up in Victoria here since I was about 4 years old. Played the Victoria Racket Club, minor hockey all the way up from novice right to bantam. What else? Junior hockey, junior B. Played under Craig Didman, the Victoria Grizzlies head coach. He was my head coach in junior B, and then I played 3 years at BCHL.
Okay.
4 years.
Where with who? BCHL with who?
BCHL, I was with Surrey Power River Merit.
Okay, nice, good stuff. Did you play with anybody in the Racket Club that went on to anything, or?
Yeah, we had a group of us Michael Saunders was the big one. He went on for baseball. He played all the way up to bantam hockey, I think, and then after they went to the Little League World Series there, and he did that. I think he pursued baseball a lot. And then
I think he made the right choice. No,
that's right. Yeah, he was a pretty good hockey player as well.
Yeah,
very, very athletic. But
how tall was he on skates?
Yeah, he was. Oh, he definitely grew a lot within a couple of years. Yeah, I think he was at least 6'2" or so.
He's a big boy. Eh?
Yeah.
Is he back in town?
I seen him maybe a few years ago.
Yeah.
He said he was wanting to move his family up, but I think they're still in Seattle now, and he definitely has a son. I know that. I think it sounds like 2 or 3 kids. So
good stuff.
He's busy.
Speaking of Seattle, what that ball team, eh? Like, did you watch any of that? Like,
I didn't watch too much, but that whole division. And,
wow.
The Jays
I thought for sure Seattle and Toronto, that would have been awesome to get New York and Boston out of there, eh? But
that's right. It was definitely exciting. I was following along the last, say, 3 to 5 games of the Jays. That's all was on social media and people talking about it. So
I know Seattle, I think their last month and a half or something, they just went on this rampage. So it's good to see. Yeah. Speaking of Seattle with the Kraken, I watched a couple games. I don't know, preseason, of course, but do you think they have a hope? Not winning the Stanley, but do you think they can compete and have the fans and everything in Seattle?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a market there, especially all the Canadians from the Canuck fans that will go down. I'm sure when you have the big teams in town, whether it's like the Leafs, the Rangers and all those teams, there'll be people going down for that. It's not too far from here, and looks like they have a pretty good base so far with fans, and they got really nice jerseys and the whole facility and arena and all that.
Yeah, beauty arena too. Eh?
Yeah, it's just. When they come in a couple of years after the Golden Knights, it's going to be something hard to match that. I didn't know if it was just that Cinderella season or what that was, but obviously they've proved year after year since they've been in the league that they're the real deal. Like they just have they just do everything right. It seems. Yeah, they definitely prepared themselves for. That first year, you could so call it, a little lucky there, but definitely for the start they've had, I think they made those big trades even before they had started, but going into all those draft picks. I think they had, I don't want to say some money involved there. It's definitely interesting how that happened, but they have they have vision for hockey down in Vegas, and I think if they didn't. Have such a scrap with Colorado, they would have given Montreal a better go there, eh? But they just look so exhausted. Like, would you want to play Colorado 7 times? No chance, right? Unbelievable. Yeah. It's there's a lot of it's very, very competitive now. Yeah, in all hockey, but including the NHL, which is great. Great for the parity is unbelievable.
100%. Where did you? How high? What level did you get to?
I played in the AHL.
Really?
With. Detroit's farm team, Grand Rapids, and the Rangers farm team, Hartford. Also went to Ottawa's training camp and was in that organization in the East Coast.
What years what are we talking here?
I started 2010, so all the way. I just finished playing 2 years ago, but played 6 different countries
over the 9 years pro there. So
okay,
I was lucky to play with a lot of great players. Most of the guys being moved up to the NHL.
Right.
Started off with in Grand Rapids with Brad May being kind of an older guy there and mentoring all the young guys. And Justin Ablocator was young at the time.
Yeah.
Thomas Tatar. My roommate was Jakob Kindle, who played in the NHL for a while. A lot of big names there. And Matt Zuccarello, Cam Talbot, Dale Weiss, Ryan McDonough, a lot of names.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Farm team.
It's walk us through this. I mean, yeah, we'll get into your school and stuff like that. But do you talk to these kids that are coming up, and do you explain to them that this is my path that I took, and what it takes is, unless you are a Sidney Crosby, McJesus or Austin Matthews, it's not an easy league to break into.
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely do my best to try to chat with the guys, especially, the guys or girls that take part in the program. And, there's lots that ask questions, and, you're only able to see them at the rink for whether it be the 15 to 30 minutes before the ice and even 15 to 30 after, but usually I'm doing some back-to-backs and all that. So it's a little tough after that, but it's always nice to see them work hard and follow what they want to do and their passion. Obviously, you have most kids that are committed and fully talk. They want to make the NHL. But
do you know if a kid is committed? Like, I hear this debate, that kid's uncoachable, that's whatever. I personally don't think any kid is uncoachable. Personally, I just don't think so. Can you talk on that?
Yeah, I think they definitely all range, especially in their passions for the game. Some kids are willing to do way more than others and get there. Obviously, some get in the mindset, say, "Oh, I'm good enough," and that's where they get really content and don't go as far because the race is so long. I think about that and some of the families, right? Like everyone wants to be placed on a team. So if they make AAA, or they make the B team that they wanted to, they kind of stop some things. I understand, time is tough with different families and a number of different kids, I guess, but even financially, I guess, too, it could be a little
and I'm glad you talked on the financial part of it. It wasn't something I was used to growing up at all. As far we didn't have it, but we certainly didn't have academies and schools and stuff like this. There wasn't that out there. And basically after junior B, if you weren't drafted, that's we're in Ontario. You're beer league at 16, 17. That's just what you're doing. But can you tell me or explain to me the benefits of academies, hockey schools? Because I just see some of them as $40,000. Is that not excessive?
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, it depends what you're paying for. The $40,000, I think, is a little bit higher for the academy hockey. Depending if you go to really good schooling as well, those can go pretty high as well. I think the lower end that I've heard is somewhere between the 18 to 24 in there.
That's per year?
Per year, yeah. But I mean, basically on that, you kind of get everything paid for. My parents and family, we had three of us playing hockey. My sister and I got hockey scholarships. My brother got a lacrosse scholarship. But if you total up all the numbers, by the time you get to a certain age, we'll just say in that, 10 to 12 years old age is when things kind of ramp up a little bit for like the serious teams. You could find yourself back then probably with all the travel, like if you go as a family over the ferry to Vancouver, spending in hotels, I think you could get into the 15 to 20 in there. And so, with the academies they're kind of giving, it's everything, right? It's including the schooling, the billeting, the bus for the players to go on, the meals,
right,
and different things. So it's kind of the full package a little bit there.
Right.
Maybe a little bit more than normal, but if you it's, I don't know how they do their payment plans.
No, and I'm not here. I'm not throwing really anybody under the bus specifically, but it's we've talked about it on this podcast several times, almost every one, to be honest. And it's, are we getting the best players? Are we getting the richest parents? What are we getting here?
Yeah, I know, you're right. It's definitely changing, especially since I played when I was younger. There's so many, and I think it's in everything. There's so much more specialized coaching, whether it's in hockey, sports, or even in our daily lives for anything, business coaching, and
right,
seeing all these physiotherapists and et cetera, all that type of stuff. So that's all available. There's more, we'll say, professionals or specialized people out there. And people that have the luxury to spend a little more money than others, then I think that's what you're going to see. And obviously the ones that, whether it's the single parent families, find it a little bit hard depending on their, income. But, in the end, you definitely need the extra, depending how far you want to make it.
So do you think it's a must? Would you say that it's a must if you are good enough? First of all, let's be honest. You got to be good enough, or it's just really a waste of money, no? Honestly.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a little bit of the older way of thinking about it. I think basically what I like to do with the BW program is teach them about leadership and how they relate it to their lives. I think, the percentages about 99% of kids don't make the NHL.
Well, that's it. That's kind of what I'm getting at in a kind of not so subtle way, I suppose. What is the actual, is there numbers that we can look at and say, okay, you have that many kids that have gone through your system, not you specifically, but in different, different schools in North America. This many, we're over 50%.
Yeah, but okay, so you being a sports guy, and I assume that you do most of your podcasts with whether it be players, parents, and coaches, that type of thing. You kind of look at what you get out of sports. We all finish our sport at the end of the day. We all work a job.
That's right.
Of some sort. So I'm sure you relate what you've learned in your sports career, whether it's high level pro or recreational. You're going to use that stuff towards what you do now, whether you're meeting new friends. As you mentioned, you're from Ontario, you came to Victoria.
Yep.
You got to meet new friends. You got to adapt to the different culture and the different way that people are.
Yeah,
that's like going from team to team.
Yeah, for sure.
Academies,
school to school,
junior hockey, college hockey, pro hockey. You're always being moved around, traded, and all that. So you got to take those life skills. As for teamwork and a goal in mind to win the game, to win a championship, you really gain a lot of skills that way too. So I think
fair enough.
Parents really, that's the big.
What's bigger than hockey? What's bigger than being good? Is it being a better teammate, a good person? There has to be something bigger than your talent.
Yeah, I mean, I think these announcers do such a great job, especially in hockey. I'm sure it's everywhere, but they we'll talk about the Sedins. They say they're great people, just like they are players. You can tell, the guys
they really
that are
are
leaders.
Yeah,
you can't really
Carey Price.
You can't really fake it at that top level to be a leader. You just don't get there, and you just playing for. In the NHL or even in the pros or in the minors, you can't just wear the C or the A, pretending to get there. So, you got to be a good person and have these types of skills to lead the team, to gel and to always even be there for others, whether they're going through a good tough time or the good times kind of thing. And so that's what you take. I don't know if you play baseball or softball.
I played it all.
Yeah.
So I played it all.
Same kind of thing, is.
But I got to tell you, not to cut you off, but you can only get so good. You can that's it. You peak, you plateau. That's I believe, anyways. You up until a certain point, it was up to the coaches. Yeah. And I had some amazing coaches that I wanted to put that little bit more in, that they knew that I had more to give necessarily, and I needed that kind of a push in this. But also, I've had some shitty coaches that made me not want to play at all. Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, would you agree that when you see players like you're predominantly teaching the young, like they're, the chances of them, you're going, oh, well, that's a McDavid right there. Yeah. How important is coaching was in your career? Because you did play for Detroit, and that guy that was there at the time, Babcock, not a fan of him at all. I don't know what you feel. I despise the guy. Just despise him.
Yeah, he's it's an old school way of all the management and coaching, the business side of it. There's a ton of that stuff in any pro sports, whether it's to do with money or whether it's to do what circle I think business you're in. But you're always going to get that, and I think that's why these kids at a younger age need to learn to deal with all the challenges and the adversity, because it's whether even people think Sidney Crosby and Connor McDavid have it easy, but it's not that easy.
Oh God, no.
They make it look easy with performance and how they go about their daily lives, their leaders and that stuff, but it's not easy to stay on top and perform, but also deal with what they got to deal with of fan stuff or even, I'm sure, their daily lives. I mean,
and that's the key. I know that when I got a few NHL buddies, and when you first break into the league, going from AHL, like what you played, to NHL, that's a good jump. Like you would think it would just be an easy transition or easier. Going from junior to AHL is even a tougher jump, I would imagine.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you got the college in there as well, and that's why you see as many major junior players making that as much. Basically, what that is now, though, is they love the younger guys to give them, whether it's 2, 3, 4 years of opportunity to prove where they can get to. It's usually not anymore. It's like, oh, this guy's jumping up from the WHL straight up to the NHL.
Yeah.
Unless you're like Connor McDavid, usually you got to go through the system, perform, and go through all the stuff.
Tyler Yost went from right up from BCHL right in. Like he fit in pretty good. Was with Penticton, right? No, and then went to Colorado.
Yeah.
He doesn't look out of place. But what I was getting at is more that when I talked to my buddies that had played at that level, it was a couple of years. They found it really tough just adjusting to the NHL, and then they kind of figured it out. The pros taught them how to be pros. They were housed with some veterans and stuff. And then as they got older, they found it even tougher again because of their age and competing, and then having some kid every spring or every fall, wanting his job, right? Yeah. So it was like only a couple years of cruising, and then it's just like, a lot of stress and stuff like that to just keep your job, right?
Yeah, no, you're saying all these correct points there. Basically, you're always uncomfortable for sure. Your job could always be on the line. There's always a new guy, especially in the minors. The contracts can be terminated.
Yeah,
you could be released or traded, that type of thing. But at the NHL levels, what we all pay attention to. The general public is you just see them on whether it's the 1 year, 2 year, or multi-year contracts, right? And there's the pros and the minor leaguers don't get enough respect or attention at all, because there's actually a ton of talent down there. It's just someone else has that spot in their job, and there's just a big backlog in talent down there. And there's guys that are on the bus all the time.
Kid that missed the bus, like
whether they're struggling or not, kind of thing. So
and that's what I'm saying. So it's like these. I'm all about, the kids that can't afford to play that are good. I'm all about that. But I'm all about is letting these kids be aware. Like, if you could make it, but that doesn't mean you made it. So like if I was coaching, or if I had some, I don't know, whatever, school, or more, interested in like letting these kids know that at a certain time, this isn't fun anymore. It's a business.
Yeah.
And you're going to see your buddies not get drafted. You're going to whatever, and you have to make a decision that which way you want to go in life. Like, do you want to fight through this and stuff? Because I just think not enough is spoken on how difficult it must have taken you to get to the level that you played at.
Right. Yeah. It's a long journey.
It's
a
a
long
huge
time, and it's a lifestyle. You have to love it. If you don't, if you like it or don't really like it, you will fall short.
Yeah.
There's always guys out there that are putting in the work, that love it.
Right.
And we'll kind of do anything. Obviously, as you said, with we'll say the privileged families or kids, they can afford these things and that, but they also come with a different mentality of they're used to getting everything and all that, where you get more the underprivileged kids, the ones that appreciate it more, and they'll fight more, and they're hungrier, and so those ones you tend to see make it more often.
100%.
They'll make it. They have that attitude and character that they need, but obviously on the end of doing extra, I do fully believe that you must do extra. The stuff that I do now for my coaching, all the different programs and services is just basically what I've seen out there and myself had to do. And and all this stuff costs money. You can driveways right there. There's parks close by, parking lots. You don't see road hockey anymore, do you? No, not much anymore.
No, it's that's gone by the dodo bird. Yeah. Okay, so I'd like to hear about your hockey school and what you do. And maybe you could just walk us through it. Like, what's a usual day look like at BW?
So BW hockey, coming from my name, Brandon Wong Hockey, played 9 years pro. I've got some AHL games and lots of ECHL games. Basically, kind of like the AAA, AA of baseball. Played in
the jungle.
6 different countries overseas. So I was able to play in a lot of different leagues in a lot of different countries, learn the culture, learn their training style. I believe now how the game is shifting to skills and speed. It is the European style game, and even more of the the French Quebec game.
For goalies.
Where the WHL and the OHL were really producing a lot of top-end elite talent and players, but also the all-around players. Now I think things are changing, and just the drills that they do overseas, tons of skating and puck handling stuff, working on their edges, working on to be in different awkward situations, their movement patterns of whatever position they're in, they work on all that stuff, stick skills, skating skills. So,
do you think that in Sweden, Switzerland, Russia, Germany, do you think that they have as many hockey schools and academies as we do here in North America?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say it differs for every country.
Yeah, but do you have your finger on that button, going, that kid came through this school, or?
It works differently over there. It's more so they have there are a lot of teams, but more so how it's ran is their youth hockey, and then they'll have their older youth. So right in our early junior ages of, like, say 15, 16, 17, they'll play with the pro team.
The top pro very team, early.
If they're top end kids, and on that, whether they stay amateur or they're getting paid like a little allowance kind of thing just to train with that type of opportunity they'll get, and then they maybe get drafted in the NHL, or they come to, if they're in that bubble range of say a prospect, they'll come over, play WHL, OHL, or USHL, BCHL type stuff, they just kind of go from there, and the rest of them under them will kind of just keep flowing through the funnel of their hockey up into, maybe it's the second league or the third league of their country.
Right.
And they can move around from there. But the politics of hockey are pretty complicated, and you can kind of go around doing different things. It's just a matter of a little bit of the who you know and what if they want you or not.
Right. So at BW, what is your focus on? You'd say, give me your top three. What's your focus on? What you really want to impress upon these children?
Yeah, basically, with all the programs, it's basically a full year opportunity to. It's broken down into different seasons, but to be able to train and do extra. As I said, you can kind of do some things on your own, but it is good to get some coaching to work on some different things and take that with you to work on, whether it's your driveway or public skating or that type of stuff. But really big on the skills, stick skills, skating, being able to do it with some speed. And then on top of that, what the bigger picture as our parents and all these coaches want is the leadership side, character, attitude, because that will be with you for the rest of your life. And you can learn that through the sports. I think if you can gain that, and we all love just to play hockey, but there's little things that come with that, right? Where even on the bench, one of your teammates do a really good thing, whether they're back checking, blocking shots, or making a nice pass. You really, you show and try to exemplify that play that happened, and you give that guy a tap on the shin pad or on the shoulder and say,
good save,
good save. And I think that's teamwork qualities and leadership qualities that you can take for the rest of your life. And talking with some of these parents, and there's some crazy hockey parents and crazy families that just have the passion and want to go far. I would say that some of these kids now that are really into it, or even being pushed or guided at that younger age, though, is they have that from like a 6-7 years old to the rest of their life, where some kids acquire it at 12 or 15 or never acquire it. So you kind of, whether you're talking about development per kid or development per hockey player, I think that's one of the biggest things to develop. And you the mentorship side, the leadership side, what I can provide myself with with the resources of other coaches, with former pros, former NHLers being around and talking to them. I think it means a lot to the younger players wanting to get to the NHL. Or
that's huge, because like I said, that's bigger than hockey. That is like what you're talking about. That's why you see like an Austin Matthews and a Mitch Marner living with Marlowe. I mean, you're both great players.
Yeah.
Rocket Richard, but you don't know how to be a pro.
Yeah.
You don't know how to be
an adult, a man.
And exactly.
It changes a lot when you come out of junior hockey.
Well, yeah. When you play for the London Knights, and then the following year you're sitting on an $11 million bank account, it's like, no, we're not going to the strippers tonight. No, Austin. Right. Yeah. So just relax. And I got 4 kids to watch, so no, we're not going out. But it's like, it's those things. But let me ask you something, and I might be putting you on the spot, I don't know, but we'll give it a go. Do you think and I've asked this question before, do you think there are kids playing hockey right now that don't want to play?
Yeah, definitely. There definitely are some. I don't see too many in my program, though, to be honest. No.
But if you did, would you say something?
Yeah, I most times when I do that, whether I'm with the minor hockey clubs and that thing, whether I talk with the coaches or with the kid, and just tell them, like, guys, if you don't want to be here, you're wasting your own time, but you're also wasting my time.
Right.
Different things.
Good point.
Your different things is not going to make a living going out to those types of ice sessions. It's more, with that reach and networking to meet them, as kids. They don't appreciate everything. I was just like them at one time,
course,
right?
Yeah.
So they don't know what they have with different people out there, whether it's guest coaches or former pros and that type of thing, right? So just kind of having them, trying to put in perspective with them is, hey, just make sure to work your hardest here and try to listen. Don't expect them at all to be a perfect hockey player or even a Jamie Benn, Sidney Crosby type.
Yeah.
As long as they try, that's, I think, the biggest thing on coaching. And like you said before, I think most kids can be coachable. It's just if they're interested or not, or passionate.
Exactly.
If they're disinterested, then, you've kind of lost them already, and likely they're not going to listen.
No, but the other thing that I've been, that's been at the forefront is mental health. And given that we're doing this podcast a day after Carey Price went into the assistance program in the NHLPA, one of the things is depression, mental health, easily followed up by probably some sort of a drug abuse or pills or alcohol or something. I mean, there's probably, I don't want to speculate, I don't know, but there's probably some combination of both.
Yeah.
And there's a guy who is loved by all, even a Leaf fan. I'm a Leaf fan. I got to give it to this guy. I mean, the pressure of not either wanting to be there or not liking it, I think we have to, as adults, not just a coach and you're doing what you're doing, but as a radio show, TV guy, whatever, I think it's my job and your job to be able to spot that early and talk about it and keep it in the forefront, saying to either the parents or to whoever, if you don't want to be there, please don't. Mm-hmm. Don't. It's because it'll stress you out. You'll get massive anxiety, whatever, and it's just not going to help you through. That could be in baseball. That could be in soccer. There's a lot of times, I think, sometimes the parents get too much wanting what they didn't have.
Yeah, I agree there. I think, whether it's the kids that are, well, so-called the high performance or elite kids they think they are, or families, and they're being pushed to do all that stuff. But truly, I am able to work with the rec level players as well.
Yeah.
I find that I can coach any kids as long as they care and listen. Because hockey is for everyone. But, you get those kids that, different areas and ages, and some of them truly, I don't know what, their past or whatever, what they've gone through, but some of them can't even get out of bed and have the motivation or drive. And that's at all ages. It's not just young kids.
It's absolutely.
Too, right?
Yeah.
So to a point, I agree there, where you shouldn't be pushing your kid to play a sport they don't want to.
But sports is supposed to be fun.
Yeah. But
let's have fun.
But some of these kids don't have anything, I feel. They play video games only.
Oh, and yeah.
So
that's another.
So
get out there.
Hockey or soccer, it's their time to get out and be outside or buy a team and other kids instead of on their electronics, because hanging out these days is on video games, and they talk to 15 to 20 or however many of their friends on there, but that's not being active. I think it's good and needed. You're a kid, but
you bring up a good point. I don't think most people, if they look at an academy or school or stuff like that, and I never thought of it until now, is that maybe that is money well spent when the kid's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to make it, but just you're not sitting at home for 15 hours and playing fucking Minecraft. I mean, it's not going to happen today. Get out. Yeah. That's a good point. Do you see that? Like, is that?
I do.
Okay.
I do see that stuff. I hear that stuff.
Okay.
I don't get to see them at their household, obviously, but I've heard that more so from other coaches. But sometimes the random parent is like little Johnny not doing so well, just hard to get out of bed, doesn't want to go to school, but will go to hockey kind of thing. And,
right.
Even at hockey, though, sometimes whatever happens, of course it's easy when they're giving her on the ice and they're having so much fun because they can do that. But truly, they are so excited to go to hockey, but when they get on the ice, it's like something happened and they're just not wanting to be there for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
But to be used as an outlet, and many different generations now, hockey sports has been that outlet for people.
It saved my life. It did.
To be able to go to something. So that's also what I believe in.
Okay. Again, now we're just back to something bigger than hockey.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the health and the well-being and, you're not going to learn too many ethics and morals sitting in a basement playing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, as athletes and jocks and playing hockey sports, we do do bad things as well, but you learn from them, hopefully, with all the brothers around you. Or we'll say sisters with the girls.
Absolutely.
Because it's growing a lot.
And we're going to talk about that.
And they'll put you in your place.
Well, that's if mom and dad say something, it's like, but if you're looking up to somebody and they say, let's go, you're probably more apt to do it. So
a lot of goofy stuff, obviously, when you're youth and younger ages, and that's just life. I think that's where you laugh about it, but you also learn a ton from those, whether they're mistakes or things that you grow from.
I still have, it was really weird, and this just happened the other night where out of the blue, I get a Facebook message from a guy that I haven't talked to in, I don't even know, probably 25 years, and played ball and hockey. And it was so random. It's just like, but 10 seconds into the conversation, and it's just texting on Facebook, it's like no time had passed. The old stories, and do you remember this? And now half of them, and I don't remember, but it's, that's just my lifestyle at that point. But it was, I'm thinking, wow, Facebook is okay sometimes. That this is really, it was really cool, and we chatted for like 2 hours, right? So. Just getting back is that what I would tell a kid is that, yes, you could move around, you could do this, you can do that, but in sports, I don't know what it is. Well, I do actually know what it is. If you go to battle with a teammate, whether you just played 1 year with them or whatever, they're lifelong friends, right? Would you like how many friends do you have that you can say that you played with in AHL and in 6 different leagues and stuff like that? Like, they're all your buddies, no?
Yeah. I'm based. That's the nice thing coming up, right? You not always are you going to be liked by everyone and make friends all the time, but basically, I think now with my hockey journey, I'd be able to mostly go to most countries or states or provinces and be able to call up someone and say, hey, if I really needed a bed and I didn't want to stay in a hotel, or I was short on money or whatever that, right? Like, you just call them and they'll help you, kind of thing. So, like you said,
and you would for them
actually playing hockey and making it to NHL. Those are the bigger things now. Now that I'm done, and everyone's done at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
did you have any injuries?
Yeah, I had 3 knee injuries. We'll say somewhat minor MCL. I broke my ankle back when I was younger too, but 1 concussion. But not too many. I was pretty lucky on that end.
What about scraps?
I had a few scraps.
Any memorable ones?
Let's see. Well, I mean, my first BCHL fight, I fought against Garrett Hunt, who actually went on to, I played with him the other year, 3 years ago or so now, and he fought for a living. He was paid to do that, so I was pretty surprising when I was 16 years old fighting against him in my first BCHL fight. But
how'd you do?
I got really lucky. He was throwing probably at least 3 or 4. I didn't even know he was that tough, and he was just as small as I was. And he would just fight, but we had the big visors in front of us too. So luckily he was hitting that. I didn't really get hit, but that was a big learning experience. And I think that stuff is important for if there's no serious injuries. And of course, I think it's really important for younger kids and people to come up and be in those types of situations, because you might have to defend yourself.
Again, it's character. It's building character.
On the ice or off the ice.
Do you believe that fighting should remain in hockey?
I do believe, to a certain point. I've had this talk over the past few weeks about that, and there's a lot of liability and insurance stuff, I think, there, and also keeping the kids safe and prolonging their careers in anything, hockey or life and all that. I agree there. But also, too, I think what we do most of the time, especially in our daily lives, is we're preparing for the future. And if they truly want to play in the pros, they have to be able to defend themselves. And if you're gonna kind of threaten them with a 1-fight warning or a suspension after their first or second fight, I think that keeps them away from fighting. And I think it's a little too strict, where they need to learn how to fight, and the only way to do is to learn that is be in it.
Yeah, that's right.
So maybe a little bit looser at the fighting end of, maybe it's 3 fight max kind of thing, or 5 fight, but I don't think like 1 fight, and like it keeps kids really thinking, right? And I think we saw it the other day. There's a goal scorer, Minnesota Wild. He got in a fight. He got a Gordie Howe hat trick. I think he scored the winner in overtime too, but he got in a fight against someone, and he took a pretty good shot. And those types of guys need to learn how to fight as well. They're not going to fight all the time.
No.
They still need to know how to stand in there and
protect yourself.
Protect yourself.
Yeah. And given even Cassian, who is a fighter, last night, McEwen, tagged him with a couple good ones, but hit his head on the ice. And let's hope Zach Cassian, I hope you're okay, buddy. But I mean, that can happen, but I don't think that's going to ever stop Zach Cassian from dropping the gloves and protecting his teammates again.
Right. No, I don't think it will stop either. If it does, maybe it has probably stopped players' careers.
Yeah.
Just have to stop, but
yeah,
no, I don't
Kiprios.
think so. And
I don't know, you remember
it's
that
a
one?
little different, though, I think, at those levels where those guys have been in it and done it for so long.
They still don't like it.
No, yeah, it's a tough thing to do, but I think, they, like with the no visor, the looser helmet, chin straps, but in junior hockey, you're having to have, it's way different. And
for sure. You could fight the bigger guy.
Yeah, most times, too, you're fighting with your helmet and visor on.
Yeah.
Yes, it can come off, but...
What about this is a pet peeve of mine in hockey, is that they took away body checking until, what was it, bantam or something? Or, right?
It's a bantam now still, yeah.
Give me your thoughts on that. Like, to me, I think that the sooner you teach how to throw a proper body check, how to take a proper body check, which is probably more important than giving a body check.
Right.
I just think they missed the bus on that one.
Yeah, and that's the kind of goes this hand in hand with fighting. They're trying to limit the injuries, prolong some of these kids' careers, and that type of thing. They want to put themselves in that awkward spot where they're having a lot of issues and dealing with insurance and liability stuff. So I think that's one of the bigger reasons why that's happening. But with being private, with BW Hockey, and I Believer is, inviting some of these kids out at around, I'd say about 10 years old, to do hitting stuff, where they start at about, I think, 13, 14 years old. So it's like 3-4 years before their time.
Oh, good for you.
And,
okay, good for you.
Some of the parents don't really understand that. Yeah, there's like, oh no, we don't.
Well, that's why we're talking.
We don't need hitting yet.
But you do.
But really, you do. Because
you could not be more wrong, Mom. Like, you just could not be more wrong.
Mom and Dad.
Mom and Dad, yeah, for sure.
But exactly, there's not the way they think, right? It's like, oh, you're going to that level next, and oh, you don't need that yet. But truly, as they get older, even into the PB level of 11, 12 years old, there's always accidental collisions. It's not even someone trying to hit someone; it's the accidental collision. So when your body's in an awkward spot that you can't protect yourself, you have to know what to do through performing or practicing and experiencing it. So, yeah, basically, BW Hockey with the coaches, we all have invited out the younger kids to come to these things. We do have some interest, but hopefully it can be more aware from locally here, and they're being supervised. So we're watching.
Oh yeah, no,
we're telling some kid to go run somewhere.
Well, that's my point, Brandon. Is what I hear. Oh man, we get to hit next year. I'm gonna rip Billy's head off because he did this, and they're just chomping at the bit to just kill. Right. And half the time they're playing lacrosse, both. They're playing both lacrosse and hockey, so they're conflicted of what they're allowed to do. But if you teach them younger that to hit, they're not as hungry and bigger to go rip Billy's head off because he did something to him at school or something. So that's teach them young, because
they're more educated and able to practice.
Yeah, it only makes sense, right? But okay. So with your hockey school, you've told me a few things that I'm really happy to hear about that I think separates you from others, where I don't know. Do you feel? Can you tell me today that your school that you know of others that are around that do stuff a little bit different than others?
I would say we're all different, but I would say now with kind of the new generation and my age and just finishing a couple years ago, I think also I'm bringing in some new things, whether it's skill drills for all ages. You know, some of these coaches like to just coach the top kids only and say that they're the best coaches because they coach the top kids. That's not true at all. It's the ones that can coach all different talents and different ages, but also, you know, the more challenging ones, the ones with attitudes, the ones with, you know, character issues, the ones that are going through tough times, who has time for them and who can help their lives and make them better people, you know, make a difference.
Right.
So I think that's where it is, and that's where it's changing a lot, I think, in sports around, you know, not just, you know, I mean, you know, a coach is such a generic and broad word.
Yeah. That
you can call yourself a coach or anything.
Well, that's another podcast, but it's kind of I was gonna leave that. But is there programs out there now that say a single mom, single dad doesn't really have the money to put out to go to your school? Is there like jump sport or kids sport, or is there something that you know of that you could tell parents about? Say, listen, if you can't really afford like the full this, we can do this, and this.
I don't know about. I think they might do like kids sport for sure is one program. I'm sure there's another couple more.
Via Sport, or Via, whatever they're called.
Via Sport, there is something with Via Sport. I don't know what they do there, but actually, so currently working on it right now to connect it's a charitable initiative with BW Hockey is working on it now, is connecting BW community, all the families now in BW Hockey. I couldn't even pinpoint how many. I want to guess at least over 200 to 300 somewhere families in there with a pretty good email list, and connect them with Vancouver Island and Victoria here locally, but also connect them with the businesses and the companies in Victoria. So about to, you know, put out a little bit of an initiative there. There's two different ones. Is one for the underprivileged. Basically, they're going to get a voucher to one of the sports stores in town, Kirby's. They'll get to buy some equipment there.
Oh, wow.
And also put some money towards the Summer Skills, BW Summer Skills Academy. That's the Community Cares Fund. The second one is the big assist, and that is where the kid or the player has to go volunteer 25 hours to a charity. Basically, what the kid gets, and they don't know about it, really is the opportunity to improve their life skills, their leadership, their work ethic, and show that they're giving back. The charity obviously gets another hand out there to help and also have a little bit of brand awareness, I think, in what they do. And then on the BW Hockey end is connecting my community with the charity and everyone else out there, and providing that kid with those opportunities. I think everyone wins there, and there's little small prizes there, and the charity will get a check at the end of the day. So,
well, I'd like to throw this out to you as my partner Howie Mason and I from Howie's Car Corral. Shout out to Howie's Car Corral. And we're in the infancy stage of starting a charity called Fit a Kid. And it's just ultimately raising money for an underprivileged child or parent with a kid who can't afford equipment. Mm-hmm. So, I'd like to potentially, if we can work together on something or whatever, I'd like to be able to definitely be in your network. And work with something like that and go from there. But
for sure.
I think I grew up that kid. I didn't know I was that kid until I was older, because I wasn't without at all. Yep. But later on, I knew, how the hell did they pull that off? So It's just something that, is there anything else that you want to tell us about your school and what you do and shout outs? What's the next programs coming up and stuff like that?
Yeah, we'll talk a little more as the fall winter program has now started. We're into our third week here. That's dry land training, working on their speed, conditioning. And then we also have the off-ice skills, working on athleticism and the stick shooting, stick handling. And then we have some additional ice going on. The big season that everyone, for the most part, knows about over the past 4 years is the spring season. 3 months of training on the ice, working on our skills, working on different parts of the game that they don't get to with their teams as much. Everyone's trying to win and everyone's trying to learn the strategies, where we're just looking to put them in different situations on the ice that you go through a lot of, the percentages, I guess, what happens in a game, and put them through that, make it a little fun, throwing in some different things there, and then also, making sure that they're in shape with their cardio. You can't use your skills at those high levels unless you're in shape.
100%.
Yeah, so that's that end. And then also just to share that there is online coaching that I've been doing, that is goal setting and video shift analysis. We can also do skills video with them, break down anything that way, and talking with them through Skype, Zoom, or FaceTime. And just connecting with them in that whole mentorship piece, I think, is a big, valuable piece, and what's different compared to others. Not everyone, has played pro hockey or been to played in the AHL or NHL training camp, and also some of the accolades was able to achieve. So that's working with me, but also wanting to pass along a lot of, whether they're colleagues or some of my buddies that I've played with or against. I'm hoping to have them join along as
Awesome.
PW grows. And I think it's all good there. Like we said, is basically, the kids love hockey, want to go somewhere in hockey. Doesn't have to be NHL. They're at all levels now and all ages. There's a place for them to play. It just may not be what their standards are, or they think they're wasting time. Like, you could have a lower end junior hockey player going to club hockey now and do school. And I think I'm big on that because it's great to be a part of a team and with your buddies, and a part of the boys. And that's what you talk about at the end of the day. It's not really how many goals you scored. It's more so all those good times. Whether you're friends, you're partying, all the girls or guys that you meet throughout the whole journey, and just the leadership aspect of them growing as people, and then as the athlete and hockey player, and going through that journey, and at some point comes to an end. You look back and you hope that you kind of got what you wanted out of it, and trying to reach your hockey goals.
Right. Yeah. That's the. There's lots we could discuss. It's when it's over. Anybody that I ever talked to was just. Wasn't the money, wasn't this, wasn't that. They missed the camaraderie. They missed their teammates, and some players have gone the other way. Wade Belak lost without, and ultimately, and that's a very sad. But he's certainly not the only one. So, there are some there's some definitely some ups and downs. But if you're taught right, I believe, when it's done, you have no regrets. Whether you made it to your goal or you didn't, you made some buddies, you had fun, and you weren't too beat up in the business. But I think the NHL certainly is going in a different direction, where it's not the old boys club anymore.
Yeah.
And you're seeing women, thankfully, taking bigger roles and responsibilities. I know the Toronto Maple Leafs, for all the Toronto Maple Leaf haters, and I get it, right? I'm starting to hate them too, but whatever. Haley Wickenheiser, they have the other Colette.
Barb Edelbaum, I think, or Underhill. She's doing the skating coaching. Yeah,
exactly, right? So, and it's about time, because, it can be difficult for women and young girls to think that, you know, their hockey, once it's over here, that's it, they're done. They're Canadian national women's team, stuff like that. But inclusion, I think, is a major thing that the NHL has. They want to be on the right side of this, right? And having them hire executives and coaches and stuff like that, it's going to go a long way. And it won't be long before you see a head coach in the NHL. That's
it's definitely changing a lot.
It will not be long.
I think they're all getting smarter, and the competition is increasing. I think that way, and they're just using their networks and resources. I think that's one of the biggest keys. Is, you know, all these, you know, with the women and the girls, that kind of movement, but also even diversity. You know, racially as well. There's definitely business that way. I mean, you take Zuccarello when I play with them. He's like the first Norwegian, I think, or one of, not many Norwegians in the league, and Germans, and they're all kind of moving in now. And, you know, these guys are finally smart, because it is about business and it's about money to some of these guys in the management, and that's when you start to get global.
But I'll tell you,
revenue.
like 100%. But I'll tell you that this wasn't, having female coaches is not new for me. And I took figure skating, and that's what we did back in Ontario. And that's how you learned your edges and your this and your that. And I cannot believe that it's not more prominent in today's game, taking figure skating. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I would agree with the figure skating part at a younger age. That's something new.
But it's not.
Within the past, no, it's not. But even locally.
That shocked me.
Past 10, 15 years, I think they've done it. It definitely wasn't talked about too much when I was playing at a young age.
I was embarrassed. I will say this, in the era of the time back in the 70s, yes, I was, like, that stigma of, you know, the homosexual, the figure skate and all that. Yeah, I was. Yeah. But I will stand here today and say that it was single-handedly the best part of my hockey training was skating.
And you said it's training. It's not that you are a figure skater. You're just
no, exactly.
It's thinking outside the box and doing that. So just trying to, all these things we're talking about, including this, we're trying to just educate the families, the players, parents, coaches. This is all needed, and especially when you start out, I think that's 100%. How you learn. People, you know, power skating is needed, but the edges are needed before the actual power skating.
That cart before the horse, egg, chicken, all of. I can't. Yeah, so it just shocks me that that's not part of it. What's the difference between winning and development?
Yeah, there's big differences.
Yes.
The winning mindset is doing anything just to win only.
Playing the top line,
shorting the bench. You know, not really working with the players, wanting immediate performance and success. That way, just a complete different mindset coming from the leadership and the coaching staff and the management.
When do you stop developing and start trying to win?
Yeah, well, like depending what age you are working.
Junior B?
You know, I mean, you basically, I mean, at every level, I mean, you talk about a kid going from junior B to junior A, you still need to develop when you're a first year.
That is my point.
So you're always developing. There's even Connor McDavid, these guys, he just got, 100 points in how many games last year? 40 something games. I know, it's crazy, 50 something games, right? So he's continuing to show that he can develop and improve his point totals, but his performances.
But that's individual. I mean, I'm talking about if there's a junior B team in town, or if there's this in town, what is more important is to win the league championship, because we all want to win. We all want to hoist that cup. I get all that. Or take a handful of those kids from the Royals, from the Grizzlies, from here, from there, and move them to the next level.
Yeah, I think it's still always, I think it's the same answer. Development is always there. Even with a good team, really good team. You take one of the best junior A teams in the country, Penticton Bees, for the past at minimum 5 years, if not even like 10 years now. And even into my time.
I get it, but are they developing kids, or did they did at the trade deadline, they got 3 good kids and then they went and got drafted and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
It's not really developing
when it
now.
becomes, so it's a different dynamic, right? In youth hockey, you literally are there's only two things, winning and developing. But I think development throughout the whole youth hockey is extremely important. But once you get to juniors, developing all the time is important too.
Yeah.
But you're able to make trades, and you're also able to recruit.
Right.
So it changes. So if you're going to recruit a top-end kid, obviously, hopefully you know how to develop. But that's where, as we go back to the coaching thing, very generalized, everyone calls himself a coach, but they don't know how to coach that top-end kid. What's he going to do? He's got to go to from junior B to junior A to NCAA D1 or D3, and then he's got to go to the pros. So do they know how to do that, right? And the kid will be able to tell you, if he was able to pass along different things. Yes, maybe someone can't teach a toe drag or something, but at least hopefully pass along, what you're good at as a coach, maybe the leadership side or how to play the game, the strategy side.
It's changed so much. Like, how do you coach a Austin Matthews? How do you coach a McJesus? How do you do, like, what at that stage? You're not teaching him skills and ability. What are you teaching him?
You're not really teaching them that side. I would say you're teaching them the everyday, what it takes to consistently perform at their highest level every day, every game. And what it what that will take, what that will look like, work ethic and putting in the extra time. I think it's kind of,
because I'll tell you why, Brandon. It's this. I've so many debates over the years. Oh, in the 80s, I could have coached the Edmonton Oilers. I could have coached them, and they would have won 5 cups. You know what? Bullshit. No, they wouldn't have. They wouldn't have made the playoffs probably. No? I mean, just because you have those talent.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you can put it together.
No, it doesn't at all. I mean, you see all these all-star teams, and one of the teams that sticks out is that Colorado Avalanche team. Joe Sakic, Tim Sloney, Paul Kariya. They put all those guys together, and they couldn't get it done. It's just depending how they play.
Rangers do it.
Yeah, and it comes from the ownership right down to the management and the coaching staff, but then also too, it can be in the room with the players, but whose job is it to bring in these players, and whose job is it to trade away the players that they don't want? There's guys all the time in there, and not to pick on Evander Kane, but there's a lot of issues going on there, and that's just a good example of you don't really need that type of problems or baggage.
Cancer, they call it.
Yeah, it's just. I've never played with them. I've heard a little bit of stories and guys that I've played with that have played.
Great player.
Yeah, great.
Unbelievable talent. Yeah. But just mixed up upstairs,
there's a lot going on there.
You should probably call Carey and get him a bed next to him or something.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, we're gonna wrap this up. What's your links and your Facebook and all that? Give me all that stuff there.
Yeah, the Facebook is just that Brandon Wong Hockey. My website, BrandonWongHockey.com. The Twitter, I think, just be Wong Hockey.
Okay.
Yeah,
awesome.
all the social medias, and we post basically every day.
Okay.
I'm just trying to educate and influence all the hockey families.
Good stuff. All right. Well, did you have fun today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. We'll have to have you back on. And all right. Well, folks, that's another edition of Raw Sportscast with Brandon Wong from BW Hockey. I learned a bit today and some insight that I'm going to carry forward with me. So that's a wrap. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you next time.